I see a bunch load of Palestine flags waving, protesting on the side of the road. Very peaceful, very respectful, I must say. Also the police doing a fine job. I was able to film all the action, take some photos for you.
The Vuelta is supposed to be 3 weeks of exciting bike racing, but this year things went wrong. Stages were stopped, protests blocked the roads, one rider crashed, and even a team had to change its jerseys. Fans are angry. So what really happened? It began in Bilbao, where Stage 11 ended with no winner. Police couldn't contain a large crowd waving Palestinian flags near the final kilometers. Organizers stopped the clock 3 kilometers from the line. Vuelta officials later said, La Vuelta respects and defends the right to peaceful demonstration, but cannot tolerate any acts that put at risk the physical safety of the participants. For fans, the shock was immediate. One moment, riders were driving toward the finish. The next, the race was over. Commentators scrambled and social media exploded. The Vuelta had become unpredictable in a way few cycling fans had ever seen. One team sat at the center, Israel Premier Tech. After repeated disruptions, they switched jerseys to remove the full team name. The team explained, "In the interest of prioritizing the safety of our riders and the entire peloton, we have issued riders with team monogram branded kit." Their stance was firm. For some, the move symbolized the intrusion of politics into cycling. For others, it was a pragmatic step to lower risks. Riders admitted it was unsettling to be the focus of protests unrelated to racing.
It's hard to describe the disappointment, to be honest. I mean, I felt like today was my day. I feel like, there should be always a finish line. We're not riding a fucking Sportif, are we?
Rival teams whispered that if Israel Premier Tech could be forced to change, future political disputes might target others as well. Spain's foreign minister, José Manuel Albares, poured fuel on the fire. "We have to send a message to Israel and the Israeli society that Europe and Israel can only have normal relations when human rights are respected." Though he admitted he lacked the power to expel the team, the words triggered headlines across Europe. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu countered, "Great job to Sylvan and Israel's cycling team for not giving in to hate and intimidation. You make Israel proud." Suddenly, the Vuelta wasn't just a sporting event. It was a political flashpoint. Politicians taking sides only deepened the debate. Some fans argued that sport should stay neutral, a safe haven away from conflicts. Others insisted that high-profile events are precisely where global issues should be visible. The Vuelta became less about climbing duels and more about clashing ideologies. The tension turned physical on Stage 15 near Montfort de Lemos. A protester sprinted toward the road carrying a Palestine flag. Javi Romo looked back, lost balance, and crashed. Edward Plankiert went down trying to avoid him. Police detained the protester, but the fear lingered. Romo's shorts were shredded, but he continued. Up front, Mads Pedersen won. He said afterward, "I have to say it makes the victory even sweeter. The way the team rode today, absolutely incredible." Even amid chaos, racing refused to stop. For Romo and Plancourt, it was more than a scare. It exposed the fragility of the peloton. 150 riders moving at high speed, vulnerable to the smallest disruption. Crashes are part of cycling, but not when caused by deliberate interference. Romo's torn kit became a symbol of resilience in the raw danger now woven into the race. After multiple disrupted stages, the peloton responded. CPA Vice President Pascal Chanteur explained, "The riders voted by a majority to stop in case of a new problem. They will then decide whether to continue or to end the event." Jack Haig voiced the frustration. "Unfortunately, we're being caught in the middle of something that maybe doesn't even really involve us. At the moment, we are kind of just the pawns in a very large chess game." The possibility of riders quitting an entire Grand Tour was unheard of. Fans debated whether this was an overreaction or simply survival instinct. In team buses, the mood shifted. Strategy meetings now included safety discussions. Cycling had crossed into new territory. Race director Javier Guillen tried to restore order. "The main message I want to share with you today is that we are going to continue with La Vuelta, and tomorrow we will start the next stage." He called the disruptions illegal. "You cannot cut stages short, you cannot block the cyclist's path. It's illegal because it's defined as such both in the penal code and in the sports law." His vow was simple. The race would finish in Madrid. Yet behind Guillen's calm words were frantic nights of meetings with police and city officials. Each stage became a test of planning and improvisation. Guillain projected confidence, but the truth was that organizers were patching together solutions day by day. Stage 18 was reshaped. Originally a 27.2-kilometer test, it was cut to 12.2 kilometers. Organizers announced, with the aim of ensuring greater protection, the time trial will be contested over a 12.2-kilometer route. Safety was the justification, but the sporting consequences were massive. Long-time trials can overturn standings. Short ones favor the leader. For Jonas Vingegaard, it meant a safer defense. For challengers like João Almeida, it was a lost opportunity. Fans erupted. Many argued the shortened course handed Vingegaard victory without a fair fight. Analysts debated whether outside factors had tilted the balance of the race. Politics seemed to be influencing results in ways never seen before. Spain's interior ministry rolled out extraordinary measures. 1,500 additional police officers, the largest deployment in Madrid since the NATO summit in 2022. Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska urged restraint. All I ask is that the exercise of this absolutely legitimate right to protest does not disrupt security. For the peloton, the massive presence was both reassuring and unsettling. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Officers lined mountain climbs, usually filled with fans waving flags. The carnival spirit of cycling was replaced by a tense atmosphere of watchfulness. The race wasn't only disrupted in cities. Hackers infiltrated race radio, broadcasting political messages and sowing confusion among teams. Rural stages saw protesters dash into narrow lanes, briefly blocking riders before being removed. It proved that even with huge police numbers, no Grand Tour could ever be fully secured. One determined group could still halt an entire stage. These incidents highlighted the scale of vulnerability. Unlike closed stadiums, cycling happens in open landscapes. Every roadside becomes a potential stage, every climb a possible flashpoint. Inside the peloton, nerves were raw. One rider said, "We decided that if there is an incident, we would try to neutralize the race and then that would be it." Riders can accept crashes or bad weather, but not chaos created by politics. Teams scrambled to adapt travel and security plans. Israel Premier Tech stayed defiant, but many riders admitted they felt like pawns in a conflict far beyond their sport. The mental toll grew heavier by the day. Riders are already drained after 3 weeks of racing. Adding the fear of protests created an extra layer of exhaustion. For many, simply reaching Madrid became the real victory. For fans, the Vuelta felt broken. Stages shortened, finishes canceled, time trials diminished. Social media overflowed with frustration. Sympathy for the cause existed, but so did anger. The line between expression and endangering athletes had been crossed. The trust between organizers and fans was being tested like never before. International viewers joined the debate. Some praised Spain for defending protest rights. Others condemned weak security. The Vuelta's reputation was no longer just about climbs and sprints, it was about its ability to withstand crisis. So, what actually happened at the Vuelta? Stage 11 ended without a winner. Stage 16 was cut short. Stage 18 shrank in half. A protester's sprint caused a crash. A team removed its name. The riders threatened to stop. Guillain vowed to finish in Madrid. Security ballooned. Fans grew furious. Cycling's greatest strength, being open to the public, turned into its most dangerous weakness. This Vuelta will be remembered less for its podium and more for how protests reshaped it. And as the peloton finally rolled into Madrid under heavy police guard, one truth stood out. Cycling survived, but the questions it raised will echo far beyond the finish line.